And hello there, it's Dr. Brenda, sociologist, financial coach, the founder of Gutsy Women Finances community, also a full-time RVer traveling the country with my three cats. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is our Supercharge Your Savings workshop. Today is July 6th, 2022. Now, if you are new to Gutsy Women Finances, this is a recording of the presentation only. And I do that for three reasons. Number one is, a lot of things that we talk about in our workshops are very personal. I mean, money is a very personal subject. I want you to be able to talk about anything without feeling like you're going to be recorded for, everyone else to listen in on later. So I do this for your confidentiality, for your comfort level, for your privacy. Second reason I do this is because these presentations, I know you've got only so much time. And when I record the live presentation, sometimes we go over an hour, sometimes it takes quite a bit of time to go through everything. I give you my full attention. When I do the presentation, I can cut down the amount of time and you can just jump right into the material. The third reason is, hey, did I mention I am a full-time RVer? I travel the country. My internet connection is not always the best. So this way, if things get really haywire here and I get cut off of the presentation, off of our Zoom session, you still have the complete presentation live. So it's a technology issue. So welcome if you are new here. I'm so happy to have you here. Now, this is a photo I took a couple of nights ago. It had stormed here. I'm at Maumee Bay State Park in Ohio as I record this beautiful state park. I travel the country and I see amazing things. And what allows me to do that is my savings. My savings allowed me to take risks. It opens doors. It frees me from worries. The money basically drives your future life. So yeah, I am passionate about this. I want to help you save your money. I want to help you get to a point where you can take risks, where you stop worrying about money, where you have these dreams and you actually can afford to go after them. That's the goal that we're trying to get to in Gutsy Women Finances. All right, now let's jump right into the material and talk about the type of saver that you are. So, there's lots and lots of material on the types of savers and different budgets. And I actually have a whole workshop on budget personalities. But there are four types of savers. One is the habitual. Second is the make it a game saver. Third is the goal-driven saver. The last is when I remember saver. Speaking of when I remember, when I remember, I am remembering now. All right, take out a piece of paper to scribble on, write your stuff on, write your thoughts on, pen, because these workshops are workshops. They are working sessions. I want you to get as much of it out of this as you can. So when we do this live, you're going to take some time and just write down all of this stuff. A habitual saver is somebody who just, kind of almost a natural saver, somebody who just automatically saves things and doesn't overspend. It's just part of like almost who they are. The make it a game saver. These folks love challenges. They love apps. So if you're a make it a game saver, maybe you like to record your progress. Maybe you like to just, like, hey, today I'm going to see how much I can save, and I'm going to save every $10 bill this month. You play games. That's cool. There's also the goal-driven saver. So they're probably not going to save unless they have a specific goal. In reality, you can be all three of those things. So for instance, I love goals. I love games. And to a great extent throughout my career, I have habituated automating my savings. So you can do all three of those things. Yes, I did cross out when I remember because that's not an effective savings tool. It isn't when I remember. by that time, you've already spent everything you intended to save. So that's not going to work here. Now, I mentioned getting out that piece of paper, getting out that pen, because this is all about creating an action plan. It's about creating goals. And I want you to have a plan by the end of tonight on how you're going to come up with money. How are you going to save? What is your goal? How are you going to get there? That's what we want out of this workshop. It's not a sit back and be passive workshop. I want you to work at it. All right, so the first place we start at is you. What gets in your way of saving right now? Take some time, write down what you think are the biggest hurdles. You're running through that swamp. You're trying to get to that goal. What is holding you back? What's holding you back? Just take some time, write stuff down before you continue. You can pause this anytime. By the way, I am going to send you the recording, and I am going to send you a PDF of this presentation. And the PDF has active links, so you can just open up the PDF. If I have a link in here, you're going to have access to it. So don't worry about that piece. So what gets in your way? The typical challenges when I ask people why they don't save, I don't have enough money. I don't make enough money. I don't make enough money to save. I've got too much debt. I'm paying off my student loans. I'm paying my mortgage. I've got a car payment. I've got credit card debt. My expenses are too high. Hello, inflation is killing me. The gas prices are out of this world. My expenses are too high. Now, all of those are challenges, and all of those are legitimate challenges. Now, there are times in our lives, and I don't want to pretend that every human being that you can save whatever you want every single month. It is not going to work that way. And maybe you've had this great smooth ride throughout your life. I haven't. So there were periods in my life when I did have debt. I had to use my credit card to pay for my groceries. I had to, I didn't, I was unemployed. I was living in poverty. I couldn't save anything. When I did have an income, it was very little income, and it was gone in a flash. So there are times in your life when you can't save. I understand. Don't punish yourself over this, and wherever you are today is not where you're going to be tomorrow, because when you catch that break, now poverty stinks, but it does teach you a lesson, and the lesson it teaches you is that you never want to be there again. You're going to do whatever you can do to dig your way out of poverty. So you might be an oversaver. That's what I did. I saved as much as I could because I never ever want to be in that situation again. But you're going to climb out of those deep holes. Your income's going to rise. Now, what happens is the majority of people live paycheck to paycheck, because when their income rises, they've got to keep up with the Joneses. Now they need a better neighborhood. Now they need a bigger house. Now they need a new car. So the expenses get too high because you're choosing to make those expenses too high. You don't always have control over your income. You do have control to some extent, to a great extent, over your expenses. Then you've got the debt puzzle, okay? The debt is something that you've got to tackle head on. And for me, I love being debt free. A mortgage with a low interest rate is usually okay to handle, but if you've got debt of over 10%, pay that off as quickly as you can. Those are challenges. Once you pay down those high interest debt, for instance, now you're able to shore up your savings. And it doesn't have to be an either or. You can increase your income, you can lower your debt, you can cut your expenses, you can do all those things to help you save. All right, I asked you what gets in your way, and you probably, gave me, well, I don't make enough money, thought about that. But I want to ask you a little bit differently here. What really gets in your way? What really gets in your way? Think about that. Are there habits that you have that are just not serving you well? Do you have a mindset that just says, I can't, I'm not a saver. I don't know how to do this. That's just not who I am. Are you letting your emotions get in the way of saving? Maybe you're using retail therapy. What really gets in your way? And that is going to be quite likely a little bit of a different answer because we are ruled by our brains. Our thoughts dominate who we are and the actions that we're taking. And so that is one of the biggest challenges, is just getting our mindset in the game to become a super saver, to know that we have the opportunity to build our own wealth. So there's this concept called cognitive dissonance. And you can use this concept to talk about almost any habits that you have in your life, almost anything that you do. And it's the contradictory thoughts and actions that battle each other. So, I just completed a 24-hour fast. I like to do intermittent fasting. And every time I'm fasting, it's like, oh, it's okay if I have maybe I'll make a peanut butter sandwich. Maybe I'll have this. Maybe I'll have that. Um, it's okay to break my fast. And then the other side of my head says, come on, you can do this. It's just 24 hours. This is part of your program. You got this. Dieting, that's a really good example. We always have good intentions. We wake up in the morning very strong. Our motivation is high. As we go through the day, usually 3 to 4 p.m., it's like, oh, you know what? I'm kind of hungry. Oh, I need a break. I'm bored. I'm tired. Things start to wane. We can't really count on our motivation. With the savings, we've got this going on two sides of our head all the time. We see something that we want. And it's like, you know what? I don't really need that. I don't need it. And I really would be better off if I save the money instead. I don't need that. The other side of our brain says, come on, go ahead and buy it. You deserve it. Stop depriving yourself. Now, I've gone shopping. I've got a good friend, and she makes me nervous when I go shopping with her because I'm not really influenced by all that stuff, but she's got this hobby of collecting gems and rocks, buying them, I should say, not hunting them, but buying them. And I know that she's had to use her credit card to pay her rent for next month because she's waiting for a disability check. We go shopping and boom, she's got to have this, she's got to have that. Oh, this is my travel. This is my way to remember this trip. It's an $80 heart-shaped piece of stone. This is another stone. Oh, it's unique to me because I don't have this in my collection. There's $55. We're going on a pontoon ride. Oh, gotta have that because there's a t-shirt. Isn't this cool? It's a t-shirt with a pontoon on it. All right, and meanwhile, I'm like, I live in an RV. I can't accumulate a lot of stuff. That helps a lot. But you've probably been with folks who are like that. In her head, she's like, I'm going to be disciplined. I don't need this. In reality, she's got no control over certain items. For her, it's the rocks. So the cognitive dissonance is something that we deal with all the time, and especially with our habits. So I talked about the three real types of savers, and let's go back to the habitual saver because there is a huge advantage of habitually saving. You're basically subverting your brain. You're that little devil on one side of your brain. You're just saying, you know what? I'm just going to quash you because I've already got these good habits. I don't even have to be tempted. So one of the things that I talk about a lot is the habit loop. You have cues that set off a routine, and there's some type of reward at the end of this. Now, the types of cues that often trigger a behavior, maybe it's going up taking a break at the lunchroom and getting a candy bar at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Maybe it's doing the retail therapy shopping at 8 p.m. because you've had a really bad day at work. So really focus on the cues. Are there emotions, anger, boredom, resentment, disappointment, even happiness that sort of sets off a shopping spree for you? Is there a time of day? So for a lot of people, they've put in their day at the office and then they're stopping at the local restaurant or bar because I've had a tough day. I'm going to do some happy hour stuff. I'm going to stop and do something because, hey, that's my reward for the end of the day. And then friends have an enormous influence on our spending habits. Friends that want to go out to these high-end restaurants and blow a lot of money versus friends who are like, you know what, let's do a game night tonight. We're just going to, bring your own stuff. Let's do a game night. Let's have fun. Your friends have a big, big influence on your spending. So focus on your habits, figure out what is setting off, what are your areas of weakness, what is setting off those spending habits, and then create a new habit to subvert that little devil in your brain. The second thing that you can do is really set priorities. So I've done this in the last couple of years. I've been on the road for over 2 years. And at one point, I'm like, you know what? I've got food in my freezer. My freezer's full. I can't even get ice cream in there. That's how full it is. I've got food in my refrigerator, and I was going out to eat at restaurants. And a lot of times the food wasn't that good, and I'd have a big bill, and it's like, you know what? This is not my priority. Now, at the same time, I'll go to a local park and I will do a 2-hour kayak rental. That is my priority. I am very clear on what those priorities are. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to go to any restaurants. It just means I have to consciously, diligently think about what my priorities are. In fact, I've gone to a cash system for dining out. I get $100 for the month. Try to use that for dining out. So I still do those things, but these are special occasions, special events. I'm not burning through hundreds of dollars on things that really don't matter to me. Biggest thing you can do to habituate savings is to automate it. Switch your mindset around. Whether you have a budget or not, there's kind of a way to create a budget. There is a way, not kind of a way, there is a way. And that is, I call it like the save until it hurts budget. So you get that paycheck, when you're getting it. Usually, most of us know when we're getting it and the amount. Tuck a big chunk of that already into savings. You have your retirement accounts. You have savings account. Yes. You have a dream account. Hey, think about a dream account. A pot of money to do whatever you want with that's going to go toward feeding your dreams. But automate your savings. Then you spend what's left after the savings. So switch around your frame of thought, your mindset. So your budget is not a spending tool. It is a savings tool. Your income, the first thing you do is pay yourself. So that is how you use habits. Now let's talk about the gamification. I love games. I've always loved putting savings into sort of a gaming atmosphere. So at the office, I'm a money nerd, and I would find, another money nerd, and we'd have a bet as to, at the end of the year, who earned the highest interest, highest rate of return on their retirement funds. We'd have little challenges. So even in Gutsy Women Finances, what I have just added is a 30-day savings challenge. I set it up for July, but the fact is you can go in tomorrow, you can go in August, you can go in December. Well, December's hard to save. You can go in January, whatever month you choose, and start that 30-day savings challenge. And it's meant to be fun. It's meant to like you can record. Give you an Excel spreadsheet. Your challenge is to save as much, well, save $1,000 or more in 1 month in 30 days. So that's a way to gamify savings. There's also a lot of apps. So this is a link. Again, your PDF, that link is going to be active. Just click on it, because if you've got a smartphone, you can download an app, and there's so many ways to turn savings into a game. If that appeals to you, there's no excuse for not doing it. So that is cool thing. Goal setting. I'm a big goal setter. Everybody knows about SMART goals, right? I think they do. Now, sometimes the A stands for one thing, stands for another thing. This is what I use. SMART is specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, time bound. Okay, so remember, you've got that piece of paper out here. This might be a good thing for you to write down, because when you create your action plan, I want you to create SMART goals, smarter goals. See, there's an E and an R after that. An E is to evaluate. So I'm going to set a goal right now, then my circumstances change. And what happens for a lot of people is when those circumstances change, I can't meet that goal anymore. It's gone. I want you to evaluate. That's what the E stands for. Maybe you got a raise. Now you can push up your savings level. Evaluate periodically. Set up a time. Maybe it's every 3 months, maybe every 6 months, maybe even every year. Set up a time and ask yourself, are these goals serving my purpose? Is this working? Can I increase my goals? Are there things that no longer have meaning to me? Do I need to shuffle my priorities? Evaluate. The other piece is reward. When your savings, you're focused on your savings, and it can feel like a diet, right? You know how that works. It's like, oh man, I'm not allowed to eat this, and this. My diet is kind of bland now, and a moment of weakness, boom, I'm just going to blow it. I am going to just splurge on whatever it is I feel like eating. This is my day of eating chocolate, whatever your weakness is. Well, you can't maintain that level of discipline forever. So you have to build in rewards, just like a diet, where it's like, you know what? I'm going to have some ice cream on Friday afternoon, and it's going to, you build that into your program. I do that with my intermittent fasting. So I chose ice cream because that's my biggest weakness. I love ice cream. But I'm going to be disciplined for the next 3 days, and then I'm going to have my ice cream on Sunday. So add those rewards, because otherwise it feels like you're just sacrificing, like you're giving up too much. Now, that doesn't mean, hey, I'm going to save $1,000 and then I'm going to blow $500 on this vacation. Your rewards can be small. They can be tiny. They can be, it can be a bowl of ice cream, something. It can be maybe a weekend outing that you've already saved for in cash, but add rewards into your whole action plan. It will make a big difference. So we're going to talk more about setting smarter goals. So, again, you're going to get this download, but you've got this piece of paper. I want you to write down, make 3 columns, your short-term, your mid-term, and your long-term goals. It is very difficult. So I have a worksheet, and it's about setting goals for the next 4 years. Once you get out beyond 4 years, it gets to be difficult to be specific. So when you're looking at the short to midterm goals, you can come up with a very specific and actionable plan. When you're talking about the long-term goals, things start getting a little bit muddled, don't they? So I talked about smarter goals. I want you to just write down a goal, a short-term goal, a midterm goal, and a long-term goal. Okay, so that's one thing you're going to do. I have up here set a crazy, wild, lofty goal. Because, yeah, I love smarter goals, but I want you to get beyond that at some point, because I want you to really I wrote a friend today. She was like asking me about my plans, and I wrote her. I said, dream big or go home. I want you guys to dream big. So forget about smarter goals when it comes to writing a lofty goal. Do something wild. I am going to create, I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 50. I am going to take a year off and travel the world. Just dream outside of the box. Write down a crazy, wild, lofty goal. You don't have to think about how you're going to get there, but I want you to open your imagination, because financial freedom, financial independence is all about thinking outside the box. Not, it's about, it goes beyond like, oh, I got to have this education, then I have to have this career, and maybe in my 60s I can retire. It's about saving your money, investing your money, building financial freedom so you can do whatever the hell you want to do. Absolutely, you can do it. All right, so that's your savings. That's your assignment. Write down a crazy lofty goal. Write down a short-term, a mid-term, and a long-term goal. Now, I want you to just go into thinking about your savings level. I want you to write down how much you're saving now. Say you've got a typical month. How much are you saving in a typical month? And now think about how much you want to save. And it doesn't matter whether this is a short-term, long-term, mid-term goal, but just when I ask you how much you want to save, just don't think too hard about it. Just write down how much you want to save. You know, whatever you're making in a month, what percentage, what do you want to be saving? How much do you want to save, and by when? When? Okay, so you might have a goal, a big goal coming up. Maybe your goal is just to get an emergency savings built of $1,000. Maybe, you know, things are looking pretty weak at the office and people are being laid off, and maybe you want to save 6 months worth of expenses, and you want to do it as quickly as you possibly can. Maybe you want to do that in 1 year. Maybe you want to do that in 9 months. This is very, very personal. You might be at a different place where you got your savings, you got your emergency savings, you've got other savings. Maybe you want to max out your retirement. Maybe you want to save for that trip to Paris, whatever it is. This is personal to you. Write down how much you want to save. What's the savings goal? When do you want to reach it? Okay. All right, so we talked a lot about mindset. We talked about strategies, habitual, you know, how you automate your savings to overcome that little devil at inside your brain. We talked about how you can gamify your savings. We talked about goal setting. Now, all right, how are you going to boost your savings? There are really only three ways. Well, three legal ways, I'm going to say. You know, I mean, there are ways to boost your savings, but we're going to focus on the three typical ways to boost your savings. It's cutting your expenses, it's selling your stuff, and it's making more money. Now, the big secret, which is not a secret of financial freedom and financial independence, is that there's a gap. You grow a gap. Here's your income, here's your expenses. Now, when you're spending as much as you're making, you got no gap. There's no gap there. Income goes up, your spending level either stays the same or comes down. Keep growing that gap. That is it. That's really all it comes down to, is growing that gap, growing the income, lowering your expenses, which includes debt, and investing the difference. That's it. Now, selling stuff, that's a great way to start out. So we're going to talk about how to do this the fastest way. And again, if you come into Gutsy Women Finances and take the 30-day challenge, you're going to get a whole lot more information and details and links on how you can save that $1,000 in 30 days. Big impact. Now, Yeah, cut down on the lattes, cut down on the fancy coffee, cut down on this. But if you really want to make a big impact, focus on the big three. The big three, your housing, your transportation, and your food. So again, I'm coming at you in July 2022, and inflation is insane, especially the price of gas. So you're probably feeling a lot of pain right now in terms of that transportation budget. Also, there are people, they've got an extra car sitting in the driveway. There are things that you can do, especially in that transportation sector. If you're in a city, can you take the metro? Can you carpool? Can you really, consolidate your errands so that you're doing everything at once and not out and about every day? So think about those expenses. And I did jump right to transportation because that's the piece that's killing me. I've got driving my rig. It's 32 feet long. These things are gas guzzlers. And just to give you a perspective, the last time I filled up, it was just under a quarter of a tank, $230. Gulp. So I've had to make some changes in my routes to try to cut that gas expense. So I feel that pain too. Boy, do I ever. The biggest expense most people have is their house, whether they're renting or whether they've got a mortgage, your insurance, your utilities. And that is something that, maybe it's time to rethink the American home. I had a, nice three bedroom, 2.5, 2-story house in Virginia. And once my kid left, it was just me. And it was like, this is a lot to maintain. I've got to do some really big things coming up, a new roof, new windows, new, HVAC system. It's like, it's too big for me, and it's just too much to maintain, and it's trapping me into a particular area, which I loved where I lived, but I'm a traveler. I'm a nomad. I want to see the country. I need to see the country. So for me, it was a huge shift from owning a house to selling it, buying an RV, and living in a very small square footage. Would never go back, but that's a huge, huge transition that most people are not ready to make. But think about your house. If you've got the house, can you rent out part of the property? Can you um, uh, downsize? I mean, it's really think about cutting those expenses. Food is very expensive. Grocery shopping and making healthy food. Think about your health. Yeah, you can save money on buying 3-for-1 burritos and ramen noodles, but that's not a healthy approach for anybody. Certainly, don't cut down to that level. I've been there. I know what it's like. Buy healthy food. Think about how your fitness level, how you want to feel good, and how you want to maintain your health. Make your own food. Cut down on that restaurant bill. For a lot of people, it is that restaurant bill that just blows their budget month after month. And again, this is all personal to you. So, paper, pen, write down where you can cut in housing, transportation, and food. Way to make a big impact and to make it quickly is to sell stuff. So this is a link to some of the best websites for selling your unwanted stuff. Um, the thing about selling your stuff is it forces you to go through and look at what you have hidden in the closets. It forces you to get declutter, get yourself organized. It is such a freeing feeling to have everything you need in one place and to get rid of stuff that's just in the way. It really is a freeing experience. So go through your stuff. Some things are giveaway things, some things are throwaway stuff, and some things you can make some money off of. So you can do this locally. I've had pretty good success using Facebook Marketplace, especially. I've used consignment shops to sell furniture. I've gone online to sell an old iPhone and a tablet. So this has links to some of those sites. get yourself organized. This is the fastest way for you to make some money. Sell your stuff. Now, we're talking about big impacts, growing your income. Now, this is not something you usually do overnight. Growing your income, you can cut your expenses very quickly overnight. You can't grow your income overnight. Most women can't. So growing your income, you might not even need to do this. So I had a professional career. I made decent money. It wasn't about the income. I did not have time to do a side hustle, for instance. And I got periodic raises, very satisfied with where I was on that income level. But if this is an area that is you need to really grow your income, think about promotions, think about other jobs. We're in a different state of a job market now. There are jobs out there, positions out there. Think about your skills. How can you use those skills? And think about a side hustle. So I have this link here. This is my document. It's a side hustle navigator. It's going to walk you through some of the things that you need to think about in setting up a side hustle. Not everybody, again, needs a side hustle, but a lot of people have started side hustles that have taken off. In fact, they've started to make more money on their side hustles than they were making at the office. So think about adding a side hustle to your gig, growing your income. When you do all that, now I've got another workshop, and again, it's recorded. I talk about how to start investing, because you do want to not just let money sit in a savings account in the short term. That is great. Long term, inflation is going to eat away at that, but you want to start learning how to invest. Grow your income. Okay, grow your income. Cut your expenses, grow that gap, and you are going to be in fantastic shape. So think about your goals, create an actionable plan, focus on cutting those expenses, selling your stuff, growing your income, maybe through a side hustle. Think about that. Now, I want to introduce you to the Gutsy Women Finances community. I started this community, and I am so proud of the way it has shaped up. It's a new community, and I invite you to come on in, especially because it is new. There aren't very many community members yet, so I can give you all kinds of attention. But I've got 3 different levels. It's the Wealth Seeker, the Wealth Builder, the Wealth Accelerator. My signature program is really the Financial Freedom Academy. If you'd want to build financial freedom, financial independence, I walk you through every single step. I give you all the resources you need so you can go out and build the life that you want. My accelerator program, I've added personal coaching to that element. So it all depends on what your needs are, what you'd like to start out with. But I really encourage you to at least start out with the Wealth Seeker. I've got activities almost every day, and you can go in and take a look at the things where you really need information on. But it is also about a community, so I have forums in there. I want you to participate. And you have any questions about Gutsy Women Finances, I also have weekend workshops. But email me. I am available, Brenda at drbrendamoneycoach.com. This is also my link tree, so you can go ahead and connect with me through Linktree. And I want to thank you so much for being here today. I know you can do it. I know that you have it in you to be not just a super saver, but to really prioritize what you want out of life and to build your savings, build your finances to a point where you can go chase after some of your wildest dreams. Okay, hey, you stay in touch. Let me know how I can be of service to you. I hope you enjoyed that. Take care. Bye-bye.